Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back once again. My name is Jordan, also known as JMonster. I want to thank you guys for joining me for another replay battle. Today, of course, we're going to be playing Age Reforged on patch 0.96.1. This battle was sent in to me by Isengard Mech, so a big thank you to him for supporting the channel. And now, without any further ado, let's take a look at some of our army comps, then we can jump into the replay. Hope you guys enjoy it. The first army we're going to look at today is fittingly that of Isengard, being commanded by Isengard Mechs. He's got some Warg Riders, one unit of Warg Riders at the very least. I think he's got a second over here on his left wing. Also brought a unit of Champions of the White Hand. Very strong Supremacy Cavalry unit. They are melee knights, but what, say, the Haven Knights have in spades, these guys lack. They have a little bit lower armor value, and of course, no shield value. Over here we got some Uruk-hai infantry. 1, 2, 3. 3 or so units of Uruk-hai infantry. At least 2 to 3 units of the Uruk-hai pikemen as well. Got a couple companies of Uruk-hai crossbows. Some more companies of infantry supporting in the back. And we've got Guards of the Orthanc. Saruman himself going to be on the field today. Guards of the Orthanc, in case you don't already know, are very, very useful support units. They give you a lot of morale in a very large radius. And I know he's got them hiding around here someplace. There's also a unit of Nazakai on the field for the Isengarders as well, which helps give a little bit extra morale support in a much smaller area, but it also is a lot of melee damage. Very, very strong unit, not easy to take down in close quarters. And then finally, last but certainly not least, we've got a unit of Trolls of the White Hand, who I know, they look derpy. They're getting a new model in 0.97, so fear not. Moving on now to the ally of Isengard Mechs, we have the Realm of Imladris, being commanded by, I think their guild name is Raging Hobbits, Inarius. And he's brought some Eldar Makar here to form his front line. He's also got some supporting companies of Imladris Guardians, Eldarin Hedu Hatal. Got some Eldaritar in there as well, Eldarin Hedu Quinga, another company of the Heru Hatal right there. Cavalry, certainly the specialty of the Imladris elves. We have some Gwaith-e Rockdor. This is one of the knight units. Very strong, very expensive, however. Over here, we got some Imladris Blade Masters and a unit of Imladris Riders. I think there's some cavalry hidden maybe over in here. I think it's 1 or 2 units of the Imladris Sentries. Looks like we got some Heru Myra over here as well. Very powerful Lancer unit. And I don't know where the other company is hanging out, but I'm almost certain that there's a unit of the Imladris Sentinel Spear Cavalry on the field today. Moving on now to their ally in the center, we have the Orcs of the Misty Mountain being commanded by Bloodbath McGrath. And as Misty, you're going to want to bring some Trolls, and that Bloodbath McGrath has certainly done in spades. Got some Snow Trolls there, 2 companies of the Cave Trolls as well. You can get a look at the glorious custom model and skin made by our very own Crimson Behelit. Got some Black Orcs of the Mountain here as well. Very powerful, extremely deadly shock troops. We got a good look at them right there. Second company as well. Heavy Goblin Spears, bunch of Heavy Goblin Spears. I think there's some Halberds mixed in here as well. Heavy Goblin Archers, Warg Riders. A little bit different from the Isengard Warg Riders, certainly visually, and stat-wise there are some small differences, but more similarities than not. And in the back here, got some BOUGHS champions riding on their white and black Northern Wargs. Got some Halberds over here as well. Misty Army hasn't exactly been put into formation yet. And a unit of Mountain Orc Berserkers as well. A nice little Misty Army all around, a lot of armor piercing. And then over here, we have the 4th and final Blue Team Army. That army being commanded by Baconfish 302. He's going to be playing as Dale today. Lake Town Infantry, Barding Herd. At least 3 companies there, the Barding Herd. Whole bunch of Lake Town Pikemen. As you're going to want to bring as Dale in 0.96. Probably going to want to change that up a little bit in 0.97, but Phalanxes will still certainly be used, as pikes are super, super strong from the front face. Got some Bardian Marksmen here as well. A couple companies of the Dalian Marksmen, 1 company of Dalian Royal Guard, and some Blackshot Dragon Slayers. Good all the time. Definitely encourage you to bring them. Extremely powerful anti-cavalry unit. And that is going to do for the blue team. Let's go ahead and see what Team Red is bringing to the battle today. Across the field from Isengard, hiding in the tree line, we have the army of Cardolin, this army being commanded by Clem. He's brought some Minas Tirith sharpshooters. I may actually miss a few things, just because, well, they're in the woods and they're hiding, so units may pop out of the woodwork progressively throughout the battle. Forgive me. In any case, Minas Tirith sharpshooters, Earthman spearmen, swordsmen, some spearmen over here as well, and a whole bunch of lag. And then we got some Minas Tirith archers over here as well. Green Watch Garrison spearmen to the tune of at least 2 units there. 1 company of the Mercenary War Chiefs. Got some Minas Tirith archers. More Garrison archers, more garrison archers, whole bunch of skirmish power. I'm not seeing a lot of pikes here for Cardinal, which is going to be a pretty tough fight, fighting uphill against Isengard pike lines. Ooh, Cardinal's definitely got their work cut out for them today. Oh, lag. Oh, more lag. It is a 4v4. That's going to happen. So, moving on now to the center line, we have the army of Rudauer being commanded by Captain Gervais. He's brought a pretty standard Rudauer army, some troll hunters, a couple units of the Rudauer is that the marksmen? Yes, that would be the marksmen. Got some clansmen mixed in there as well, along with some dunmen. I think it's dunmen pikes. Or is this Rudauer pikemen? No, it's dunmen pikemen. There you go. Redknight pikes over here mixed in with some Rudauer swordsmen. They're going to be backed up with some Redknight berserkers and the deadly, the resilient Witch Roman slavers of Angmar, who are going to be getting a new model. Yes, I know it looks a little bit janky. They look like something out of Aquaman for the time being. More Redknight pikemen, more Rudauer swordsmen. Let's see. Got some Redknight Rangers in here as well. Very interesting pick. A lot of heavily armored units on the field. That would certainly be a useful thing to have against Dale, not so much against the Allied themselves that they're going to have to face off against. They got some Trollshire Axe Throwers over here as well. So a lot of mid-ranged murder power, as you'd expect from Rudauer. Moving on now to the third red team army, we have the forces of Harad being commanded by the Steward of Dale. And he has brought Serpent Guard. Ooh, the lag though. But why? But why, game? Why? Serpent Guard, Southron archers, at least 2 companies of them right there. Southron Warband, some Southron pikemen here mixed in with some Serpent Guard. It makes a very able phalanx. Not exactly the kind of fighting style you might necessarily expect from Harad, but against the Misty Mountain army that they have over there, there are no pikes. So the Southron pikes are almost always a safe bet as long as you can defend them. But yeah, lots of Serpent Guard here. Second line composed of Muhad Beast Hunters. Got some Champions of Nafarat, some Trollmen as well. Black Serpent Bodyguard to supplement their cavalry wing. And then over here on the wing. Oh, the lag though. Hold on, guys. There we go. Southron Warband. Hold down the wing. Another company here with the Serpent Guard. And I think that's going to do it for Harad's army. Now we get into the hidden Rohirrim army. Going to be facing off against Dale. This army commanded by Paul the Llama. He's brought some Meduseld Guard. Nice little mid-range supremacy unit. They're quite able combatants in melee as well, and they have the throne trait, which makes them extremely powerful against elephant class units. See Mumikil, of course, being the most obvious example, but also chariots of all sorts, both the runic chariots and the Lindon chariots as well. Very powerful trait against them. And the Misty Mountains, they have the Drake Brootlings that they can bring. Those are classified as elephants. So a unit like the Meduseld Guard, always a good thing to bring against those factions if you suspect there are going to be some elephant units on the field. The Rohirrim army is still kind of hidden at this point, but as I recall, it consists of some of the low-tier spearmen, lots of the Riddermark Axemen, a couple companies of Riddermark Skirmishers. Got some Shield Maidens mixed in there as well. So a lot of mid-range punch here. It seems like this Rohan army, which you can't actually see right now, has really gone for an infantry-heavy approach, which is interesting. In 0.96.1, Rohan's infantry is not all that great. So I think they're going to have some troubles against the Dalian pike line, but they've got a lot of mid-range punch to try and counter that. So without any further ado, let's hop into the battle. Hope you guys enjoy it. Here you are. The Rohirrim army has revealed itself in all of its glory. Lots of Riddermark Axemen, as I mentioned earlier. A-Wind Shield Maidens, Eastmark Spears, a ton of Eastmark Axemen. I think that's the Sword and Board unit. Yeah, so a lot of men-at-arms type units here for Rohan. And then, of course, the pride and joy of any Rohirrim army. There's those 2 skirmisher units I spoke about earlier. Riddermark Cavalry. There's definitely 2 companies there, the Riddermark Cavalry. I think there's some Arid of Allenberg as well. And I'm almost certain that there's a knight unit here, so the Sons of Eorl should be on the field, just trying to look for that distinctive green heraldry, and there they are. Look at those beauties. Very deadly. Rohan's knight unit, a little bit better on average against cavalry than most knight units tend to be, but not quite to the point of being a melee knight unit themselves. Also a little bit lower on the armor side of things, with a little bit less melee defense because of their axes that they wield. But because of that, high damage. But in any case, the Haradrim going to be first into the fray, it would seem. The Southern Archers have basically run right up to the Goblin front line, which was hidden. Or some Goblin distracting units here that I don't think the Haradrim realized were hidden. Getting charged on now by the Serpent Guard. They are not going to last very long. With the Serpent Guard charging into them, another company here coming on the other wing. And these archers firing point blank into the Gobbos. They're not going to like that. They're not going to like it one bit. And now some Haradrim reinforcements moving up into the brouhaha here created by the Goblin infantry, and they're going to break almost instantly. And there goes the Goblin front line. Over here, Rudauer has charged uphill against the High Elves, and they seem to be doing very well for themselves. There's no High Elven pikes on the field today. Certainly, that's going to be a problem for dealing with units like the Haradrim pikemen. The High Elves will be able to stand up to those pikes from the front for quite a while, but it's really just a matter of time before they begin to crumble under the superior range of those pike units. Over on the right wing, however, Eladra seems to be holding things down. Some of the skirmishers here have been left out in the open to do their thing. Against Rudauer, that's going to be particularly effective. So Rudauer needs to move in here, try and use something to maybe shut them down. Gwythi Rockdor over here, about to take a javelin volley on the chin. Looks like they managed to get into the Edinburgh Trollhunters before they were able to toss their javies. That being said, the Edinburgh Trollhunters are still a spear unit, so they'll be able to deal some pretty significant damage to the Gwythi Rockdor in return. Over here, Champions of the White Hand. Oh, I thought they were going to get some Imladris Riders, but they're actually on the same team. So that must be a relief for those Imladris Riders. Let's see how Isengard is doing over here. Cardolan lines have joined, but it seems like Clem here is a little bit new, since putting the Greenwatch Garrison Spearmen up against the Uruk-hai Infantry is a suicide mission. Especially with those Trolls of the White Hand nearby. A bunch of militia here forming the right wing of the Cardolan army, and that is a wing that is not going to stand for very long. There are no nearby supporting units that I'm able to find. Over here, another company of spears getting hacked to bits by the Uruk-hai. And it looks like Isengard Mex has managed to get his cavalry in behind the Cardolan position. Unless Cardolan has something sneaky up his sleeve, I don't think this is going to be a fight that goes well for them. Meanesgrith and Sharpshooters here, two companies of them, trying to lay down some supporting fire. Some archers there seem to have been caught in close quarters by a small renegade band of Uruk-hai that have managed to penetrate the Cardolan front line. Spearmen going toe-to-toe against Uruk-hai pikes and Uruk-hai infantry. This is definitely not the way you want to try and play Cardolan. You can be aggressive as Cardolan, but you need to be aggressive with your crossbows. You need to defend them at all costs, which is exactly the opposite of what this Cardolan player is doing right now. They have no pike units to try and counter the Isengard pikes. This is just going to be a bit of a massacre. And it looks to me like their right wing is on the verge of complete and total collapse. Imladris brings some cavalry over here as well to try and help out their ally Isengard. The sooner that they precipitate the destruction of this Cardolan army, the sooner they'll be able to jump onto the wings of the red team. And that is a very bad thing for the red team indeed. You can already see that breaking beginning to happen. Pop back over in here into the center. Looks like things aren't going so great for the High Elves. Rudauer has really come in like a wrecking ball here. And the Eldarin Hedu Hatal and the rest of the High Elven units are struggling to hold back the advance of Rudauer. A little bit of support here from the Haradrim. Got to make sure that this Elven left wing crumbles for good. Meanwhile, over here in the center, a little bit too impetuous, I would say. I got some, on the part of the Haradrim, some Goblin Halberds here. They're going to do pretty well against the Serpent Guard. What they won't do well against at all, however, is Southron Pikemen. Southron Pikemen would have had no problem dispatching these units of Goblin, both the Goblin Spears and the Goblin Heavy Halberds, and I think using the Serpent Guard as a support unit rather than as the main thrust of the assault here would have been a much more prudent use of the Haradrim Commander's resources. That being said, Southron Pikemen have now made it to the fray, and now this frontline engagement should begin to turn around in favor of the Haradrim. Those AP Pikes are absolutely a nightmare. Back here, the Dalish opening fire on the Muhad Beast Hunter is probably one of the units that Harad is going to be relying on to pick up the slack where the Serpent Guard have begun to fall. I want to try and keep this unit intact for as long as they can. I got some spears back here trying to defend them as well, and I think they're being targeted by the many numerous bow companies of Dale. Over here, I gotta say, I like what the Rohirrim player has done here. They haven't rushed necessarily to take the entire Dalish army head-on. They're probably a little bit more into the front of these pikes than I think the Rohirrim commander would like, but they are using their skirmish units very well here. These two companies of Eowyn Shield Maidens laying down some enfilading fire into the Barding herd. I gotta say, I like it. This is, if you're gonna play Rohan with this kind of build in 961, this is the way you're gonna want to do it. Especially when fighting against a faction like Dale, who are gonna do their best to try and keep you at range with their many and very cheap polearm units. it's going to be tough to try and beat them down from the front. As you can see, many of the Axemen units here are struggling quite mightily. However, where those Rohirrim skirmish units have been brought to bear, things are looking up for the Sons of Eorl. Riddermark skirmishes over here as well. Great time for them to be brought to bear against the rear of these Lake Town Pike units. They could very quickly collapse this entire wing and surround the Dalish center, which is exactly what the Rohan player is going to need at this point. I think they've committed a little bit too much over here on their left wing, and that is very quickly being beaten back by a combination of Lake Town units. I think there's some Barding Herd maybe mixed in here as well. Definitely going to want to be careful. What do we have here? Sons of Eorl pushing deep into enemy territory along with the rest of the Rohirrim Lancer Corps. Get a nice piece of these Heavy Goblin archers, and those Rohirrim are going to run roughshod all over the back lines of Dale. That being said, there are some pretty stiff units here. Barding Marksmen, more specifically the Blackshot Dragon Slayers, will be able to stand up in close quarters to most of these units, except for maybe the Sons of Eorl. Over here, Dalian Marksmen, it seems that they've turned their attention away from Harad, and now they're trying to deal with this big security breach here in their back lines. Rohirrim Cavalry just cycling charges in and out. Very well played on the part of Paul the Llama here. I have to say he's probably, given the limited resources that he has with the state of Rohan Infantry in 0.6.1, I'd say he's doing the best that he can out of anybody on his team with some very limited resources. Meanwhile, over here, it seems as though the Goblins are going to be able to hold their line. Even the addition of the Southron Pikemen was not the guarantee I think that the Haradrim player needed it to be. And the Haradrim are being bogged down here in a very lengthy line battle. And if you look in the back here, some of the Eldarin Hedu Mairo have been brought to bear against the Muhad Beast Hunters, who are doing great work over here on the left wing. Now they're going to get absolutely flattened by those heavily armored Eldar Lancers. But I want to see how Rudauer is doing. Rudauer seems to have the edge here over the High Elves. The High Elves have drawn off a lot of support, certainly a lot of their cavalry support to try and assist their allies. Over here, Rudauer Clansmen and some Warg Riders really pressing hard against the Gwythi Roktor. The Gwythi Roktor are going to be forced to beat a hasty retreat from that engagement. Definitely not at all where they want to be. And they're just them fighting units like this, it keeps them out of the back lines of Rudauer. They could be hammer and anviling right now and absolutely flattening units here like the Witch Realm Enslavers. But instead, they're going to get a decent hammer and anvil here just because of the positioning of this unit of Rudauer Swordsmen. It's going to be pretty ugly for Rudauer. That being said, they have some options here. Run 9 Berserkers, lots of bowmen they can use to pressure the rear of the Eldaritar. But I am very curious as to how things have turned out with Cardolin. And it does not seem as though they have gone very well for the men of Arnor. And when you know, Cardolin had some Tharbad Warhammers over here as well, and some Mercenary War Chiefs and some other nasty things, which we didn't see because of the wood cover. But Isengard is thoroughly in command of this battle. This was not a fight that Cardolin was going to win the way that they were planning on fighting it. Man, Sharpshooters here, the only real killing power in this entire Cardolin army, being massacred. Looks like there were some Dunedain captains over here after all. Well, what do you know? That's where the general's going to be hanging out. Now that general is very much in danger of being surrounded and massacred by the Uruk-hai Sally. These Gryphon Sharpshooters holding the line as best they can. And I guess the Uruk-hai Infantry, they might not do too poorly with their maces, but yeah, I'd say this Cardolin army is ready to collapse. Over here, Isengard has now brought some reinforcements to bear against the rear of the Rudauer force. What do you have here? Very strong flanking movements from the High Elves, which I missed a little bit earlier. And with what Rudauer has available on their back lines right now, I don't think they're going to be able to stop this. Maybe they'll be able to kill off some of the Eldar Makar, but other than that, this fight might be lost for Rudauer as well. Not a lot of luck for the red team. It would appear that the Rohirrim general has fallen, and that is going to send a wave of panic rippling throughout the Rohirrim army, and a lot of them are very much on the verge of giving up hope. Over here, the Meadowseld Guard have stabilized things a little bit. These Eastmark Axemen will fight significantly longer against the Dalian Royal Guard, who are going to lose that fight. Bardian Marksmen here are really struggling, but over here in the center, yeah, Rohan just did not have what it took to win this kind of fight. They used a lot of their mid-range skirmish over here to try and break down the Barding Herd, and perhaps maybe they even overcommitted in that regard. A little bit of support from the center certainly would have made this a bit of a closer match. But as it is, the Rohirrim infantry beginning to crumble with the loss of their leader. Very, very unfortunate indeed. And now they're being driven back basically everywhere across the lines. Take a look at some of the percentages there. Not too close, but still a pretty cool match to watch. Riddermark skirmishers charging into some Dailian units, but unfortunately those units are pikemen. And they're going to skewer Paul the Lamel's cavalry on the ends of those pole arms, and that's going to precipitate a rout here amongst the Riddermark skirmishers. That's going to be all she wrote for them. The Haradrim still holding on, but only by a thread. Black Serpent bodyguard, along with their general, being brought to bear here in a pretty decent hammer and anvil attack against the Goblin line. There's just not enough of those Black Serpents there to really do the damage, I think, that the Haradrim need. And if we look in the center, they have been broken by an attack from the Snow Trolls. And there goes the Haradrim general, so it seems like they're going to be in the same position that Rohan were in just a few moments ago. At least on their left wing, they were making some serious headway. Some troll drummers here, which I didn't see during the army breakdown phase, present, keeping this this force willing to fight in the face of some pretty tough-looking Haradrim units here. Champions of Nafarat hacking to bits what remains of the heavy goblin spears and the black Ruruks of the mountains. But ultimately, I don't know if this is going to be a fight that they can win. Maybe if they break it quickly, if they break that wing quickly and they can come in from the rear against the goblins, Harat can turn this around, but I don't think it's going to happen. Some cave troll drummers over there that are keeping that situation stable. And now Rudauer is having to deal with the might of, I think this is a mixed force of the High Elves. Yeah, we got some Nazakai coming over here as well. A force of High Elves and the Nazakai. And the rest of the Isengard army is, I'm sure, in very close attendance. You can see on the minimap there, many of the green Isengard units beginning to bear down upon the Rudauer position. Oh man, all the Rudauer marksmen here are in danger of annihilation as the guards of the Orthanc slowly sweep their way through and disrupt all that remains of the Rudauer skirmish line. Red 9 Rangers not looking so great here. It'll be a very important unit to have if they're a little bit more numerous. Might be able to shut down this this encirclement here from the High Elves, but as it is, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work out for them. That being said, Rudauer is holding their own. With the Witch Realm enslavers in here, they might just carve their way through the High Elves, so it's a good thing that the Isengarders are in close attendance, able to provide the support as needed to the High Elves. We got over here some Urukai crossbows. I think Isengard is in pretty good condition. Yeah, if you look over here, you see a big blob of their troops still fighting what remains of the Cardalin warriors. But I don't think that's going to last for too much longer. There goes the Cardalin general, and that is definitively going to put the nail in the coffin of the Cardalin army. You can see their units begin to break almost immediately. An encirclement here from some Isengard infantry, however, is going to make sure that this blob of Cardalin warriors are not able to retreat off the battlefield. Some more riders coming in to ensure the destruction of all the remains of Cardalin, so no Redding units are going to come back. Cardalin is thoroughly and utterly defeated. Let's zoom back across the way here. Take a quick glance at how Rudauer is faring. Still pretty even. Pikes over here doing an excellent job against the superior Elven infantry. Again, that range bonus is not to be underestimated. These Dunman pikemen are the lowest of the low, the scummiest of the scum in the Rudauer army, and they're still able to hold these two units of Elven infantry at bay. Heraquinga being no slouch in melee, despite being an archer unit. Then over here, what remains of the Haradrim being ridden down by the Gwythi Rockdoor. Some of the Misty Mountain cavalry as well. Now some Black Heroics of the Mountain who have freed themselves from their engagement on the other wing, going to come in for a complete encirclement of the remnants of the Haradrim host. It was a pretty ugly battle, but Misty was very much in command of that from start to finish, and I think that had to do with the early engagement, at least in a significant way, because of how the Serpent Guard were just thrown at some halberds. That was not a fight the Serpent Guard were going to win at all. They're not capable of that, at least not from the front against halberd units because of the range differential. But, you know, it is what it is. Harad still did pretty well in a tough situation. Rohan is now crumbled over here as well. I'm going to go ahead and kick this into 1 times speed. The Minnesota Guard have pretty well cleaned up some of the elites from Dale over here. Black Shots are still very much in good condition. But the Minnesota Guard are really all... They're the one remaining thread that's holding together this Rohirrim defense. Shield Maidens beating down the boarding herd surrounding them. But now Dale is going to be able to come in from the rear with some of the reinforcements from the center. More and more Lake Town units moving in. A lot of arrows pouring into the area as well. And that is all she wrote. For the Valiant Rohirrim, I have to say, I want to repeat this one more time. Paul the Llama did really well with the resources that he had available to him. I think it was a little bit newer to the mod, but certainly not to Total War. Because at least veterans in .96, they know not to go quite so heavy on their infantry as Rohan did. Or maybe he just wanted to try something new. But there are some different comps I think he might have gone for. And if he had, then he probably would have been able to beat down the Dalish army here, which is composed for the most part of militia units. But as it is, Dale is battered but not beaten. A lot of dead Rohirrim and Lake Town units on either side, but Dale is still able to feel the force, capable of swinging the battle in their favor. Not that they really need it at this point. The Haradrim are gone. Cardolan is gone. It's really the only thing that remains now is for the men of Rudour to put up their final stand. Go ahead and fast forward things. Well, that's going to be it. We're down to 93%, 68. Not a very close battle, but still a glorious one nonetheless. As the last of those Black Numenorians begins to fall, we're going to approach the end of our replay here. Let's just take a quick sweep over the battlefield so you can get a good idea of the carnage that happened here. Seems like there was one small pocket of the Rohirrim that were left, and they have been beat down by some Lake Town units. There goes the Rudour General. And the High Elves are victorious. Isengard is victorious. Most of the blue team, actually, in fact, all of them, every single member of the blue team won their battle. Misty was a little bit more bloodied, as was Dale, but Isengard was the definitive victor, and so were the High Elves ultimately in this fight here against Rudour. So not the closest match. I do generally like to have them a little bit closer, but still a damn fine spectacle for you guys to enjoy. Now what do we have over here? The victorious blue team running down the remnants of the red team as they flee into the woods. There's going to be no quarter given in this battle as the Southron Warband are cut down. That's going to be the end of our battle. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, it wasn't all that close, but it's still fun to watch these games, especially ones that involve a lot of new people. Clem, I believe, was pretty new. I don't think I've seen Paul the Llama around on Reforged for forever, actually. I don't know if I've ever seen him before, in fact. So it's good to see that there are more people being added to the community, and it's becoming that much more robust. All that means is that there's a lot more people for you guys to play with and to enjoy the mod with. So, hope you guys enjoyed the battle. I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.